This is the Jeep that we're working on today. So it all belongs to a buddy of ours. He got started with this frame-off restoration, and the same thing happened to 99% of the people that are doing a frame-off restoration. He gets sidetracked, and the project comes to a screeching halt, and that's where we are today.
Well, I like where his head was originally, going back to the frame-off restoration. It's just taken a lot more time than I think he or anybody anticipated.
Eventually, we need to get some lights, too. Put that on the list.
Okay. Now, one of the things this Jeep was missing was a dash, and one of the great things about Jeeps is, as we talked about before, parts are easy to find. You can find them cheaply, like we found this one at our local boneyard.
It was easy to notice the missing dash because there were a lot of wires up there, and like you were saying, that's got to go, right?
Yeah, it's not the clean look we're looking for, but this is going to look good when it's done. We'll paint it up, we'll do a little body work, it'll look nice, and the way we're going to make it look customized is making a brand new dash bezel for this to fit into place, and we're going to do that with our Tracker CNC Pro Table plasma cutting system. What's really cool, because you take all our dimensions, you implement them here into Corel Draw, you transfer everything over the table, and you have got a perfect piece. So right now, what I've got laid out is a rectangle. We need to get all the measurements so we get the right dimensions, and Matt's going to help me out with that. Shoot me with the length, would you?
17.
All right, so
on
put
the nose.
that in place there, and the height.
8.
8.0.
That'll work.
And boom, you see there's our right shape. Now what's cool about this is you see everything in front of you, so you'll know if you've got something that's out of whack. First thing we want to do is make our speedometer. So we're going to go ahead and use the elliptical tool. We'll make our circle like that. Now we just need the dimensions for that speedometer.
Now I can get pretty close with the tape measure, but I can't get 100% accurate. And I know Bruno doesn't have any tolerance for any kind of errors whatsoever, so I want to make sure I get it right. So 5, and with this little ruler, looks like 41/64. Nice thing is, right on the back side of this, I can go to 41/64, and the decimal equivalent is 0.640. So, you got that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll put it for the other axis, and we'll have our perfect circle here. 0.64, boom. And there you can see the changes made right before us. Now we just need to decide where we want to locate it in respect to our bezel itself. We're going to continue on getting measurements from Matt for all our cutouts, for our gauges, and all our switches. We'll lay them all out here. We'll see that it works. We'll get all the right dimensions. We'll transfer it over to the table, and we will have a very cool, very precise looking custom dash bezel.
It's going to look nice.
So our custom dash bezel is all laid out and ready to go. All we have to do now is send it over the table and cut it out. But before we do that, we want to go ahead and treat the aluminum we're going to work with, because this is going to be a finished product. It's going to be a finished piece inside. We want a certain look to go with this to make it look really cool.
That's absolutely right. Now, when you work with metal, you might know one name, Shark Hide Products right there. They are like the industry leader in metal protection, but they've also got some other great products, especially for cleaning aluminum. And that's what we're going to use right here is the aluminum cleaner. What we're going to do, basically, it's an acid-based cleaner. We're going to spray it on the area, the whole area, before we cut it out, and that'll etch the aluminum, and it gets rid of that whole outer layer, all the contaminants, and it leaves nothing but good, clean metal right there. That way, when we take it to the polishing step, we're getting the best look possible.
Yeah, all the oxidation will be out of the way. We'll get a nice uniform finish. We get a mirror-like look with that polish, so we've got to spray the aluminum first. We marked an area here where the dash bezel will sit. We'll spray it out and allow it to etch in, and you'll see it right here doing its work already. Once this is all done and it's all etched in, we'll take it outside, rinse it away, then we can bring it back inside and polish.
Yeah, get it on there, get a good coat. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky, right? We're going for kind of a dual look on this because we want the brushed look on the bezel, but we want this nice bright chrome look where we've got the logo for the CJ7. So here's what we got to do. We got to brush that out. Basically, we etch it like Bruno just did. We're going to polish that and get it good and clean in a little area where this logo is going to go. Then we'll leave that on there after we get the piece cut out. Then we'll etch everything again, brush it, you know, kind of Scotch-Brite that all the way across. Then when it's all said and done, we'll have a nice brush look, and this will really pop out nice and clean.
All right, we're going to let this set up another minute or so. Then we're going to take it out and rinse it off. Hey, welcome back. Our CNC tracker is done cutting out our custom dash bezel. Now Matt's just doing the final touches right now, and it looks pretty good.
You ready for this, dude? Check out the reveal, right? So we pull this off, and now I will hit this with the pad. I'll just put a little water on there, hit this with the pad, back and forth like that on the side, and we'll match up that whole brushed look all the way through. And then when we peel these white stickers off, boom, it's going to jump out at you, and that's what we're looking for, dude.
Well, Matt finishes our dash. I'm going to go ahead and start working on our bumper. Now, the Tracker CNC is really great because it's so versatile. You can cut the thinnest of aluminum to 1-inch thick steel. Now, I don't know why you have to cut anything that thick, but it has the ability to do so. Also, it's easy to get up and running. You get one of these systems, you get everything complete in the system, and you can be up and cutting in a matter of hours, which is really nice. Now, the software, easy to use. We're back in Corel Draw, and you can see right here, this is our finished bumper. Now I'm going to show you guys a quick step here, which is kind of neat. Here's a rectangle shape, okay? So let's say we're building our bumper. What you do is you make one rectangle like that, put another one here, and we can weld these two together to get what we're looking for. Pow, like that. So this is a rough, is where you go is while you're building this out. So we continue on, make our diagonals here with little triangles. That gives you a sense of what we need to do. Now, here is our finished drawing. One thing I want to mention to you guys is when you do this, you got to understand that you got to make room for the cut. So the cutter is going to come down and you have to give it an entry point. Otherwise, it'll mess up the finish. So what we're going to do here is do an edit plot. So we'll go in like here, like that. Zoom selected. Now this is actually the cutout for the bolt hole, but we've got to leave an entry point so it doesn't mess up the bumper. So go like that, add a lead in there, and this way it'll purge or come down to the bumper, cut it out this way and leave a nice even hole and won't have any damage to it, won't have any weird cuts.
Now, Bruno is a smart guy, but he also benefits because when you have a CNC tracker table like this, they give you unlimited training, technical support, and there's a 3-year warranty. So it's not like he just knew all this stuff. He actually learned it.
All right, buddy, fire in the hole. So our front bumper is cut out. Now I'm going to take it and hit it with the DA sander, get off all this protective coating, and then it's going next door because we're going to bend this thing to fit the Jeep. Yeah, I know you're thinking you're going to bend steel, right? Well, with the right tool, anything is possible.
Good luck with that. All right, now back on over here on our bezel, I can remove this final sticker and we can take a look at that polished look. Now that looks fantastic. Everything came together real nice. Now it's time to protect it with the shark hide metal protectant, which is good for any kind of metal that there is. It's going to protect it and keep it looking brand new. So what you want to do is take a cloth baby diaper, kind of like this one, and really soak it in real good. We're going to get a lot of it on there. And the application is nice and easy. It's as simple as one wipe this way and a wipe back. And then you want to overlap it a little bit, go in this direction, one wipe back, boom, and we have got it covered. It's going to dry to the touch within seconds, so we're going to go ahead and leave that alone right there. But in the meantime, we can come back over here and take a look inside the engine compartment at some of the things that could use some shark hide. Right here, take a look at this, like these brake lines right here. Nice and easy. You just wipe it on, and that is protected, and it's going to stay looking good for years to come. Now also, you take a look at this master cylinder. That thing's all rusted up, looks like junk, and it hasn't even been subjected to the elements. That's just because it's old and been sitting there. So if you put a new one in and you treat that with the shark hide, it'll stay looking brand new as well. You can use it down here on any of these metal pieces around the intake. Anything you want to keep looking good. Down here on the bolts, let's say we put some brand new bolts. It's as simple as just kind of soaking this rag and applying the shark hide just like that. So with the shark hide, like I said, it goes on, it protects the metal, it's nice and easy, and it's going to keep it from yellowing or corroding or cracking or any of that. It's just going to stay looking brand new for years to come.
Now, I mentioned before, you can do anything you want if you got the right tool, and for what we're trying to do is bending steel, well, you need something like this. We snuck over next door to our buddy who always lets us come over, so we're not necessarily sneaking in, but he's nice enough to let us use his tools like this 90-ton press brake. So one thing you want to do is we've made marks on either side here, because that's where we're going to make our bend. We've got a 90-degree die in the bottom, and we're going to slowly start bringing down. Once we're in place like we are right here, we can go ahead and make our bend. All right, so here's our first pass down. We'll check, see if we got 90 degrees, and we're not quite there yet. Make a little bit of a fine tuning on this thing and bring it down a little bit more of this die. That should get us pretty close, I believe, to 90. All right, so now we got both sides done. I'll tell you, this is a cool looking bumper, man. It always helps to have friends and friends with toys like this. Hey, welcome back. Our bumper creation is done. Well, it's almost done. If you look real close right here, you can see a TruckU logo that we put on this thing. And we did it similar to our dash bezel. Well, this time what we did is we put a decal down for TruckU. We covered it up, the whole thing with shark hide, and treated it. peel off the decal. And the idea is the untreated metal will rust over time, give us a really cool effect. And once we throw it outside, let it rust up a little bit, we'll seal it back up with shark hide and we'll lock in that rusted look. Pretty cool effect, I think, to that bumper.
I think that's going to look really cool when it's done.
Yeah.
You know? So next up in the build phase are new stainless steel brake lines. We got with the guys over at Crown Performance because we really like their new 5-layer brake lines. It's 5-layer stainless steel Kevlar versus, you know, a typical one is 2. So take a look at this. You've got a protective vinyl cover, then you've got the stainless steel braid, another protective layer, then the Kevlar braid, then the Teflon inner core. I mean, this thing is ridiculously tough.
Yeah, it far exceeds the DOT standards, and it's pressure tested up to 4,500 PSI, which is way above anything you could ever push with your foot. The nice thing about it, too, is they come in all different lengths, preset, or you can get them custom made for your vehicle. And check out the colors, too, man. If you want your whip kicking some purple, baby, you are good to go with these bad boys.
I don't even know what you just said, but it sounds good.
I don't either, but I hear from the kids.
You know what's good about these lines is you don't have what's called a volumetric expansion. That means that the brake line is not going to expand, so as you're sending fluid back and forth, it's not going to blow out on you, right? So you're not going to have a soft or mushy pedal. This is going to be instant response, and that's what you want, especially in a performance vehicle.
There you go. Now, anytime you're tightening up brake line fittings like the ones we've got here from Crown Performance, you want to make sure you use short wrenches like this. It makes life a little easier because it doesn't give you the ability to over-tighten them and split the brake lines, or at least a less of a chance of doing so. That is not what you want to have happen.
Now, and I've got the existing banjo bolt that I will use and hook this up to the back side of the caliper, and this side will be ready for bleeding.
Yep.
This thing is fast, isn't it? Hey, welcome back to TruckU. So today we've been working on our 1986 Jeep CJ7. Everything's going good. We got the new custom bezel piece for the new dash. That's all done. We got the bumper cut out and bent up, and that's ready to go on the front. And this is the final job of the day for us. It's the new upgraded fuel tank right there. Now, this is the CJ Off-Road Enduro Extended Range fuel tank from Genrite, and this is going to be a nice addition.
Yeah, you know, first of all, when you've got an old tank like this that's been sitting for the last, 26 years, if my math's correct, you're going to get a lot of contamination over and through the lines with rust and corrosion. It's been sitting out. There's spiders all over this thing. It's not the kind of stuff you want to be pumping through a brand new engine, right? So by putting in a new fuel tank, we'll avoid contamination or the possibility of. Now, this one is a nice tank. Look at this thing. It's 1/8-inch aluminum that's been TIG welded. It's been pressure tested. It's got a 3/16 steel skid plate around it. This thing is made for some heavy-duty off-road stuff. You know that it can take a beating. You know it's going to protect the tank from taking a beating, and it is going to be a nice upgrade over the factory one.
Now, one thing that we're going to do while the tank is off and while it's easy to get to is we're going to treat that with the shark hide metal protectant, just like we did a bunch of other pieces that we did today, right? Because that shark hide is going to keep this tank looking this good for years to come, and that's the name of the game.
Now, with this new Genrite fuel tank, you've got a couple of different options when you talk about sending units and fuel pumps. Now, this Jeep has got an aftermarket fuel pump and an aftermarket fuel injection system that seems to keep up, but it's really not the ideal way to go because we'd have to use this old sending unit, cut a hole in the top here, try and find a way to make it all work.
Right.
Really, the better option, I think, for the owner of this vehicle would be to convince him to use one of those new YJ all-in-one combos, you know, where he's got the sending unit and pump all on a single assembly.
Yeah, because that whole assembly is going to mount right there, and then think about it, you've got the pump on the inside of the tank, so it's pushing rather than pulling, so it's less wear and tear on the pump, and it's going to be cooler too for operating temperatures because it's surrounded by the gasoline that's inside of there. So I think you've got a couple different benefits to go in that route that you were talking about. So I think that's a nice way to do it.
All right, I think I'll get on the horn, order the pump.